Swaha Swaha.
Suryaya idam namama.
Suryaya idam namama.
Om Bhurva Swaha.
Om Bhurva Swaha Swaha.
Prajapate idam namama.
Prajapataye idam namama.
Om Bhurva Swaha.
Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayatu.
Swaha. Om Bhurva Swaha.
Tatsaviturvarenyam
Om Bhurva
Swaha. Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayatu.
Swaha. Om Bhurva
Swaha. Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayatu.
Swaha. Om Gayambagam
Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushivardhanam Urvarukamiva Bandhanam Mrityor Mukshiyamamritat. Swaha.
Om
Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushivardhanam Urvarukamiva Bandhanam Mrityor Mukshiyamamritat. Swaha.
Om Gayambagam
Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiva Bandhanam Mrityor Mukshiyamamritat. Swaha.
Om Gayambagam
Bakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiva Bandhanam Mrityor Mukshiyamamritat. Swaha.
Om Gayambagam
Bakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiva Bandhanam Mrityor Mukshiyamamritat. Swaha. Ragupati Raghava Ratita Pavana
home.
Who am I? Questioner. We are advised to worship reality personified as God or as the perfect man. And we are told not to attempt the worship of the Absolute, as it is much too difficult for a brain-centered consciousness. Maharaj, truth is simple and open to all. Why do you complicate things? Truth is loving and lovable. Truth includes all, accepts all, purifies all. It is untruth that is difficult and a source of trouble. Untruth always wants, always expects, demands. Being false, it is empty, always in search of confirmation and reassurance. It is afraid of and avoids inquiry. It identifies itself with any support, however weak, however momentary. Whatever it gets, it loses, and then asks for more. So therefore, put no faith in the conscious. Nothing you can see, feel, or think is so. Even sin and virtue, merit and demerit, are not what they appear. Usually the bad and the good are matter of convention and custom, and are shunned or welcomed according to how the words are used. Questioner. But aren't there good desires and bad desires, high desires and low? Maharaj, all desires are bad, but some are worse than others. You'll see, pursue any desire, and it will always give you trouble. Questioner. Even the desire to be free of desire? Maharaj, why do you desire at all? Desiring a state of freedom from desire will not set you free. Nothing can set you free, because you are already free. Just see yourself with desireless clarity, that's all. Questioner. But it takes so much time to know oneself. Maharaj, how can time help you? Time is a succession of moments. Each moment appears out of nothing and disappears into nothing, never to reappear. How can you build on something so fleeting? Questioner. But then what is permanent? Maharaj, look to yourself for the permanent. Dive deep within and find what is real in you. Questioner. How do you look?
Here, Guruji is telling by desire, Nisargadatta means personal desire, whether it is high or low.
Because nobody can live without desire.
Because nobody can live without any desire.
Only person dies, not God, don't die.
But universal desire is not called your desire.
Because everybody dies.
Because it's everybody's desire.
Therefore, I'm in desire.
Therefore it is heavenly desire.
Questioner. How to look for myself? Maharaj, whatever happens, happens to you. What you do, the doer is in you. Find the subject of all that you are as a person. Questioner. Maharaj said, find the subject of all that you are as a person. Questioner. Well, what else can I be? Maharaj. Find out. Even if I tell you that you are the witness, that you are the silent watcher, it will mean nothing to you unless you find the way to your own being. Questioner. But then my question is how to find the way to one's own being. Maharaj. Just give up all questions except one. Who am I? After all, the only fact you're sure of is that you are. The I am is certain. The I am this is not. Struggle to find out what you are in reality. Questioner. But I've been doing nothing else for the last 60 years. Maharaj. Well, what is wrong with striving? Why do you look for results? Striving itself is your real nature. Question. Striving is painful. Maharaj. You make it so by seeking results. Strive without seeking. Struggle without greed. Questioner. But why has God made me as I am? Maharaj. Which God are you talking about? And what is God? Is he not the very light by which you ask this question? I am itself is God, and the seeking itself is God. In seeking, you discover that you are neither the body nor mind, and the love of the self in you is for the self in all. The two are one. The consciousness in you and the consciousness in me, apparently two, are really one, and this consciousness seeks unity, and that is love. Questioner. How am I to find that love? Maharaj. What do you love right now? The I am. So give your heart and mind to it, and think of nothing else. This, when effortless and natural, is the highest state. In love itself is the lover and the beloved. Questioner. But everybody wants to live, to exist. Isn't that self-love? Maharaj. All desire has its source in the self. It's all a matter of choosing the right desire. Questioner. What is right and what is wrong varies with habit and custom. Standards vary with societies. Maharaj. Just discard all traditional standards. Leave those to the hypocrites. For only what liberates you from desire and fear and wrong ideas is good. As long as you worry about sin and virtue, you'll have no peace. Questioner. Well, I grant that sin and virtue are social norms, but there may be also spiritual sins and spiritual virtues. I mean by spiritual the absolute. Is there such a thing as absolute sin or absolute virtue? Maharaj. Sin and virtue refer to a person only. Without a sinful or virtuous person, what is sin and what is virtue? At the level of the absolute, there are no persons. The ocean of pure awareness is neither virtuous nor sinful. sin and virtue are invariably relative. Question. So can I do away with such unnecessary notions? Maharaj. Not as long as you think yourself a person. Questioner. By what sign shall I know that I am beyond sin and virtue? Maharaj. By being free from all desire and all fear. By being free from the very idea of being a person. To nourish these ideas, I am a sinner, I am not a sinner, that itself is sin. To identify oneself with the particular is all the sin there is. The impersonal is real. The personal appears and disappears. I am is the impersonal being. I am this, I am that, is the person. The person is relative, and the pure being fundamental. Questioner. But surely pure being is not unconscious, nor is it devoid of discrimination. So how can it be beyond sin and virtue? Please tell us, has pure being intelligence or not? Maharaj, all these questions arise from your believing yourself to be a person. Go beyond the personal, and then you'll see. Question. What exactly do you mean when you ask me to stop being a person? Maharaj, I do not ask you to stop being. That you cannot. I ask you only to stop imagining that you were born, that you have parents, that you are a body, that you will die, and so on. Just try this. Make a beginning. It's not as hard as you think. Questioner. To think oneself as the personal is the sin of the impersonal. Maharaj, again the personal point of view. Why do you insist on polluting the impersonal with your ideas of sin and virtue? It just does not apply. The impersonal cannot be described in terms of good and bad. The impersonal is being. It is wisdom, love, all absolute. Where is the scope for sin there? And virtue is only the opposite of sin. Questioner. We do talk of divine virtue. Maharaj, true virtue is divine nature, Svarupa. What you are really is your virtue. But the opposite of sin, which you call virtue, is only obedience, born out of fear. Questioner. Then why all this effort at being good? Maharaj. Well, it keeps you on the move. You go on and on until you find God. And then God takes you into himself and makes you as he is. Questioner. The same action is considered natural at one point and then a sin at another point. What makes it sinful? Maharaj, whatever you do against against your better knowledge is sin. Questioner. Knowledge depends on memory. Maharaj, remembering yourself is virtue. Forgetting yourself is sin. It all boils down to the mental or psychological link between the spirit and matter. We may call the link Psyche, Antakarana, and when the psyche is raw, undeveloped, quite primitive, it is subject to gross illusions. As the psyche grows in breadth and sensitivity, it becomes a perfect link between pure matter and pure spirit, and gives meaning to matter and expression to spirit. There is the material world, Mahadakash, and the spiritual, Paramakash. Between lies the universal mind, Chid Akash, which is also the universal heart, Prem Akash. It is wise love that makes the two one. Questioner. Well, some people are stupid and some are intelligent. The difference is in their psyche. The ripe ones had more experience behind them. Just like a child grows by eating and drinking, sleeping and playing, so is a man's psyche shaped by all he thinks, all he feels, and all he does, until it is perfect enough to serve as a bridge between the spirit and the body. As a bridge permits the traffic between the banks, so does the psyche bring together the source and its expression. Maharaj, call it love. The bridge is love. Question. So ultimately all is experience. Whatever we think, feel, do is experience. And behind it is the experiencer. So all we know consists of these two, the experiencer and the experience. But the two are really one. The experiencer alone is the experience. But still, the experiencer takes the experience to be outside. So in the same way, the spirit and the body are one. They only appear as two. Maharaj, to the spirit, there is no second. Questioner. To whom then does the second appear? It seems to me that duality is an illusion, induced by the imperfection of the psyche. When the psyche is perfect, then duality is no longer seen. Maharaj, now you've said it. Questioner. Well, but still, I have to repeat my very simple question. Who makes the distinction between sin and virtue? Maharaj, he who has a body sins with the body, and he who has a mind sins with the mind. Questioner. Oh, but surely the mere possession of a mind and body does not compel one to sin. There has to be a third factor at the root of it. So look, I come back again and again to this question of sin and virtue, because nowadays young people keep on saying that there's no such thing as sin, that one need not be squeamish and should follow the moment's desire readily. Young people will accept neither tradition nor authority, and can be influenced only by solid and honest thought. And if they refrain from certain actions, it's only through fear of police, rather than by conviction. So undoubtedly there's something in what they say, for we can see how our values change from place to place and time to time. For instance, killing in war is great virtue today, and yet may be considered a horrible crime in the next century. Maharaj, a man who moves with the earth will necessarily experience days and nights. He who stays with the sun will know no darkness. You see, my world is not your world. As I see it, you're all on a stage, performing. There's no reality about your comings and your goings. And you know, your problems are so unreal to me. Questioner. Well, we may be sleepwalkers. We may be subject to nightmares. Is there nothing you can do? Maharaj, I am doing. I entered your dreamlike state to tell you, stop hurting yourself and stop hurting others. Stop suffering. Wake up. Questioner. So then why don't we wake up? Maharaj, you will, because I shall not be thwarted. It may take me a long time, but when you shall begin to question your dream, awakening will not be far away.
Mohammed.
Oh, yes.
And this extraordinary job of typing, which I'd like to put on camera. This rotter's work. She's made it all.
Got to talk to you.
The misuse of reincarnation theory. She doesn't like praise. Many people do not believe in reincarnation of the soul after death. So they work hard and they live to the hilt because they feel they have only one life to live. And many of them are or appear to be happy with this life, and many are charitable and philanthropic. And strangely enough, many others who do believe in the reincarnation of the soul after death, many of them are quite lazy, and they don't want to do anything except to eat and to sleep and to have romance. A lot of romance. So these people think and understand that they have a reservation or some celestial arrangement by which they shall again be born as human beings after this present life. And therefore many of them live as parasites depending on others. And they are burdens on the earth. They forget the operation of karmas, which in a proverb is, as you sow, so shall you reap, and this is the eternal law of nature. Now, if the Führer, Herr Adolf Hitler, were to be reincarnated, what would be his reincarnation, do you think? Would it be human or subhuman? Perhaps, writes Guru, he would reincarnate as a lion or a tiger, to clean, so to speak, the whole forest of animals. Eat them all up. So these people forget that the soul can be transmigrated and take the form of a dog, a cat, a serpent, a bird, some aquatic animal, a fish, or a cow, a horse or a buffalo, even a tree. Would you believe a little blade of grass? And so on and so forth. Therefore, the reincarnation theory depends on the eternal law of karma. Your present life is the result of your past lives, and your future life is determined according to the quality of your present life. Therefore, it is incumbent on every man and every woman to behave as neatly and as nicely and as well as he or she wishes others to behave toward him or toward herself. So, as you respect and honor the good and the honest behavior of others, so you should do also to them. Otherwise, it doesn't work. The energy of the universe cannot run without a complete circuit. So, in short, we all should behave as total manifestations of the same God. And nobody should have any monopoly over God and heaven. Throughout the world, people are misusing and mistranslating this reincarnation theory. And the fact that this is so, I want to illustrate with a little story. Quite simple, it goes like this. There was one Brahmana Pandit. He had a beautiful, noble horse. And he was keeping his horse with him at all times. At night he kept him near his house so that nobody could steal that noble creature. But unknown to Brahmana Pandit, somebody was watching that horse with great envy in the hope to steal it. And it was none other than that famous or infamous, that notorious Mullah Nasruddin. Mentally restless, ever agitated, thinking when, how Mullah Nasruddin was restless to steal that noble horse. And many times he actually attempted the theft, but he was never successful. Yet, day and night, he thought, how am I going to get that animal? When will I get that animal? And even so, he was losing his sleep every night because of this reason. Now, obviously, if you think about something all the time, sometime or other in this life or in the future life, you're going to get just what you are thinking about. And the mullah was no exception. The mullah began to believe in the reincarnation theory, although he was a member of the Mohammedan religion, which does not, at least in theory, believe in the reincarnation of the soul after death. But he didn't mind. As a matter of fact, he thought it would be quite convenient to accept, at least for a time, the notion of the reincarnation theory, because in this acceptance of the concept, he was going to get something. And he would have that horse. So, the mullah was waiting for the proper time to steal that magnificent animal. Now, in the meantime, some friends invited the Pandit to a Christmas party. And the Brahmana Pandit was a very good man with excellent character, nice in every way, a member of the 4-H club, Boy Scouts, and so on. Except there were one or two small weaknesses. He loved to gamble. And he liked to drink, both in the casino. So the Christmas party was organized in every way by his friends. It was going to take place in a faraway city. And the Pandit was invited with a double invitation, one of course for the Pandit and one for the horse, because he never went anywhere without his animal. Special arrangements were made giving the Pandit complete security and protection that night in a beautiful inn. But the mullah was serious. And would you believe it, the mullah followed the Pandit to that far away city, hoping that this time he could get the
horse.
Yeah. Well, this time he went in disguise. He now had a golden opportunity to steal that horse. Because that night, the Pandit drank and gambled all night long in that casino. He was very happy, very alert, and jubilant, and many times, of course, he either stuck his head out the window or went downstairs to see the horse, who was staying in the inn stable that night. Now, the hospitality of his friends was unique. In addition to that warm and affectionate and nurturing hospitality of his friends, there were some bartenders of the fairer sex in the casino. They were not only intoxicating, but they were intoxicated. You could hardly find their equal in beauty. They were the topmost in beauty. They were topless bartenders. The pundit could not resist the hospitality in the form of drinking, gambling all night, and of course, after drinking so much scotch and a good deal of rye, he fell into a deep alcoholic stupor, and at this point the mullah said, and he tiptoed in to see the horse in the stable, and of course when he saw that horse, it was in a certain sense love at first sight. So he was kissing the forehead of that horse, he was stroking its neck. At that very same time, as destiny would have it, a merchant was passing by, and he was a horse trader, believe it or not. So he said to the mullah who was admiring the horse, he said, "Mullah," he happened to know the name of the mullah because obviously he'd read this story before. He said, "Mullah, is this your horse? I will offer you $50,000 for this horse." The merchant was thinking inside to himself, "I'm going to make a fortune on this horse by selling it in the market to somebody who knows race horses. This horse is a winner." Now, the mullah, hearing the merchant's generous offer, thought to himself, "This is net cash. You can buy a lot of horse feed and many other horses with such money, so how am I going to resist it?" The horse was sold. Of course, it didn't belong to the mullah. And the mullah, being a good man at heart, felt a tremendous consciousness of guilt for having sold this horse that didn't belong to him, which he liked in the first place, and which he had trailed all this way. The mullah decided to make recompense. And how did he make this restitution? You'll never believe what he did. He tied himself with the same rope with which the horse had been tied, threw the same saddle over his back which the horse had worn, began to neigh and stomp around in the stall, chewed a lot of hay and grass, neighed and brayed, or whatever horses do, and he stayed in that same place where the horse had been lodged. He tied both his feet and neck, kept his mouth full of grass, and he was waiting, of course, for the arrival of the pundit. There was a small problem stashing away 50,000, but he had large Mohammedan pockets. So the next morning, waking up from sound sleep, the pundit rushed to see his horse, and on not seeing his horse, the pundit shouted, "Where's my horse? What's happened? I'm undone without my noble horse." And the mullah shouted, "Wait! Don't be too excited. Wait a minute. I'm your horse. Hard to believe I'm your horse, and your horse is I, and we're the same. Let me tell you how this works." And the pundit was breathing very hard and leaning on the stall, and the mullah said, "You see what happened in my past life? I was cursed to be reincarnated as your horse by that divine angel, due to my excessive drinking in the casino and gambling in the casino. And tonight, the curse is over. It's ended. You see, I'm still tied with that same rope around my feet and neck. You can see my mouth is still filled with these alfalfa sprouts. Thank God, the curse is over." Now, the pundit knew a lot of yoga, had studied Patanjali, and he knew that there was something to this, and being a religious man, he accepted the whole story. He fell to the ground. He prostrated. He thanked God and heaven for not cursing him by the divine angel. even though he had the same problem of drinking and gambling. He looked, he was all right, no tail, no horse ears, everything. And he was extremely thankful to God and to the angel for his grace. But the Pandit could never remain without some type of horse, so the following day he went to the horse market. You're not going to believe what he saw at the horse market. So his own noble horse. So looking him up and down with disbelief, the Pandit approached the horse and he whispered into the horse's ear, "Oh Mullah! Can't you remain even one night? Christmas night without drinking and dancing and staying away from those intoxicating topless bartenders? So soon have you become again a horse? Commanded by the angel of God, Mullah." And Guru concludes the essay and says, this is the misuse and the mistranslation of the theory of reincarnation. If all men apply the theory of reincarnation and karma, there'll be no need even of nuclear war, and mankind will be very happy. Om Shanti, Shri Brahamanda Saraswati, Sarasota, Florida, December 1985.
Introducer.
Hey,
Yes. Kirtan.
A book or a list somewhere that tells you what sins you had to do to become what. And we can compare not to do those things. Like the Ten Commandments.
what do you understand?
Well, that if you do certain things, that it's karmically bad. But just to what degree?
Which sins would you like to do?
How far? Would you like to go?
I just wanted a clear-cut idea.
You have had. Who has had?
You have.
Who has had? Had. Bread.
You have said well.
Highly high mother. Highly high.
And another question.
Guruji, I was thinking I might write a book, Guide to Next Incarnation.
Don't forget Mullah.
Don't forget Mullah. You should be there.
That's what I was thinking. That's what I'm thinking. There should be a book.
There are many books.
There are many books
Already many books.
already.
But 2 months to be done.
But what do you want to be next?
She should visit Tiger Balm Gardens, Guruji.
What's
They
time?
show the picture of all the things that you can become, all the worlds that you go to.
But 2 months to become that. But 2 months to become that in
What do I want to become next incarnation? A very enlightened devotee that's very thin.
That was clear.
And that can easily that can just become one with God in no time.
Time you have to work pretty hard.
That very hard. Work very hard.
Very hard.
24
hours. And time.
And at the right time.
Think.
And it's nighttime.
Time.
At the right time.
Think.
Ring the bell. And ring the bell on time.
Very hard at all times.
And ring the bell at the right time. At the right time.
It's on video now. Ring the bell. 2 pounds underweight at all times. My goodness.
Guruji, I have a video that you might like to see that John and I made today of the Yoga Sutras.
Okay.